And welcome to Beck's Bug Out Survivor. Today I have the Snug Pack hammock cocoon. Big sleeping bag, goes over your hammock, and I had one many years ago and sold it, and perhaps I regretted selling it because I didn't understand it. But now I have more of an understanding towards this product, so I bought two. Yes, you're right, I bought two because now I understand it. I've been reading a lot of Amazon reviews on this product to bring to you today. Some are very correct, some are wildly incorrect, and some, just like me when I bought my first one, just haven't got a clue what they're talking about. So I am going to tell you everything you're going to need to know. Demystify, that's what I'm going to do. Demystify everything. As it is packed up, we are looking like this in their stuff sack. Somebody on the Amazon reviews website there said this is a brilliant stuff sack. Far from it, it's not a brilliant stuff sack. I have a British Army compression sack, and in relation to something like this, this is quite inferior. What makes this not a brilliant compression sack is compression sacks are designed to be much bigger than they need to be. Let's pop this guy down here, get the old tape measure out, see what it is. I'm going to do it in inches. I can soon convert that. Mine is around 16 inches. Let's flip that over and find out what that really means. Around 40 centimetres, 40.5 centimetres. 10, yeah, 10. Let's flip that over. That's around 25.5 centimetres. With a military compression sack, the whole idea is it compresses. It is so big, it's very easy to pack your sleeping bag into. When you compress it, it will compress very easily from 100% down to 50% or below. So half the compression sack, as where this is just, as far as I can see, just a normal stuff sack. Let me loosen it all up for you. It is barely big enough to get the product in. I can get the product in, but as you can see, there's no way from here I'm going to get 50%. I can get some compression, that's about it. So what am I moving it here? There's 4 fingers. Yeah, I can move it 4 fingers, but no way is 4 fingers 50%. Also, the straps here do tend to have a habit of coming out of the little plastic runners there. They do pop out from time to time. So these are brand new, and these were not given to me by the company. These were bought with my own money. Okay, so I can give a more honest appraisal of these things. I had one many years ago and then sold it. Jump forward another 8 years, I bought not just one but 2. Even Snug Pack recommend on one of their blog sites that you team it up with one of their sleeping bags, and mostly the videos that I've seen on YouTube where they test it for the night, you'll see them with an extra sleeping bag and a pad as well, which you're going to need. So what temperatures realistically can I get away with only using this? Around 14 degrees Celsius, so let's convert that. So it's 14 degrees C, you double it, add 30. So 14 to 28, add 30, 58. So around 58 degrees, nice warm night, you'll be okay with one of these. But like it is now at 6 degrees, and on my phone it says a real feel of 3 degrees, then this on its own isn't enough. You need to add to it. I do say it on a lot of videos, is why separate your knife, fork and spoon? In fact, you wouldn't. They are all different items that function to do the same thing, to eat your dinner. This, I think, is the same. I don't disconnect my hammock and carabiners from the insulation. Priced up, this without the hammock was 67 quid, less than 70 quid, and then I have myself a summer hammock insulation. But if you want to further that insulation throughout other seasons of the year, just get yourself your sleeping bag and a pad. It has a micro antibacterial treatment, and I'm going to assume the treatment has been applied to the actual insulation. The weight is around 2 kilos. Of course, once you add in your sleeping bag, there is where the weight is, as well as a pad, be it air or foam, but it will get you through most of the year. I only need to connect into these daisy loops. There you go, and that's all the daisy chain is, a series of loops where I can snap in the carabiner, and that's what I'm going to do next. Just snap the carabiner into that, unzip, get in. It is quick and simple, but there are flaws which could have been ironed out before production, in my opinion, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's just hang it up. Today's temperature of 6 degrees has a real feel of 3 degrees, and that's the kind of temperature right now where I wished I'd have had gloves every time I touch a tripod, which is made of metal. It feels cold. Nowhere on the website does it say how to hang it, because once it's hung up you have a big hollow void here where all your heat's escaping and cold wind's getting in, and nobody talks about it on YouTube. Nobody addresses the issue. But this is my second cocoon without the hammock in, and I'm going to show you just how quick it is to pack away, because the one with the hammock is in my pack over here, and that doesn't have a stuff sack. I'm not keen on compression sacks, stuff sacks, anything like that. I know people absolutely love the damn things. I'm not one of them. I just want to show you how quick it is to put in. It's that quick. Let's get the spider straps over the top. This is the bit that's going to take a little longer, and that will enable you to sit that in your pack, which I don't do. I'm pretty much a loose filler. I do have a waterproof canoe sack here in my pack, so I'm in no danger of my insulation getting wet from rain or even a river drop. Get out my cocoon, which already has the hammock in it, and place it into there. You see it's straight out of the pack for me, straight out the pack and onto the tree for a speedy convenience. And then I adjust the height, and that's me done. Unzip it and get in. There are pros and cons to this, the way it's set up, just like this. Pros and cons. Is that a little too high? Let me see. No, it's just nice, just about getting my toes on the ground. Yeah, pros and cons. If you thought this is all you need, I'd say you're wrong, and you're going to need a pad in this, and also a sleeping bag, which is going to add to that 1950 grams. In the Amazon review, somebody has said these are good quality zips and these are YKK zips. Neither of them statements are factually correct. These are not YKK. Why did the guy say it in the review on Amazon? I have no idea. Perhaps he's heard the word YKK and just threw it into his sentence. YKK stamp their zips. These aren't stamped YKK. YKK is a Japanese company, make the best quality zips in the world, and YKK do not snag on the material. Everything snug pack I have ever had snags, but they are crash zips, which means I can just pull apart like this, and you see this zip opening up here. On the inside of the zipper, it is bright orange, so in the daytime you can see that bright orange, and that's on the inside with you. On the outside you just have the black like that. Of course, what about in the dark? I have put one of these fluorescents in where I always know where the zips are. It doesn't come with that. Okay, let's get in. I tried to explain earlier about the gaps at the head and the foot, and people I've seen doing reviews on these on YouTube have always said, well, it lets in the ventilation, which it certainly does. Plenty vented. Nobody, on the other hand, will say to you, it's also letting all your heat out and the cold in. You really must block the ends. However, it's not long enough in this 8-foot hammock to totally seal off that air gap. Now, I can sleep here with my head poking out like this, or I can totally enclose myself into it. Now, if you are going for a wee in the middle of the night, as I do about at least 7 or 8 times, I'm at that age, I could get up like this and it falls off, something like that. As you can see, I have lost every single bit of insulation I've been building up for the past few hours. So make sure, if you can, to tuck these into your hammock. Just tuck it in like that. You'll keep or retain most of the heat that you built up. But I always have a pocket here. This is on the hammock, and I keep a bottle in there. Quite important, if you do have to get out of this thing, always remember you're going to lose every single bit of heat that you built up. If you connect into your beaner like this by tying it in how probably they expect you to, because it doesn't actually give instructions of the connection. Let's just put that in a hitch and then a bow, just like a shoelace. What happens is this here on the end, a big open gap. People say this is great for ventilation, but great for the cold air to rush in and then build up a cold spot underneath your hammock. Now we have a cross exchange where your warm body heat is escaping through that opening at the head and foot, and cold air is coming in. The cold will win over heat, which is why this video really does need a second part. Sleep in this with your head poking out. Sleep in this zipping it over yourself. Some people will say, well, what you're going to have is the insulation resting on your face. I can't sleep like that, some people will say. I have no problem having the feeling of the insulation on my face at all whatsoever. However, I have seen people putting in a ridge line from the hammock, elevating it up off the face, and we are going to have a look at that in that other video. But for now, I need to pack away. It's a nice little system to pack away this. I'll show you how quick and easy it is when you don't have a compression sack. Instead, what I have is a canoeing dry liner. It's in my pack and I go straight into it. I'll try not to get too much of this on the ground. I'm just trying to keep it in camera shot. There you have it. It's in. Disconnect. In. And plenty of room. Retrieve my tree straps. I prefer a canoeing dry sack than putting everything into a compression sack. If you want to know, these compression sacks are not waterproof. If you wanted to leave it on top like that, if you pack and put the lid over. So 2 of these for me takes up around 45 litres. I've got a 90 litre pack and I have additional space for my big fat puffy coat as well as my rain gear and everything else that I need. I'm not one of these who feels the need to put a ton of stuff in my pack. This bit of the video I'm going to call a reality check roundup. 67 quid, I thought great value. Reality check, YKK zips. No they're not, they snag. Everything so far I've had from Snugpak snags. Reality check, yes it is a crash zip, you can just break it apart. It does have a little pocket here as well built into that, which I didn't show you, which we'll show on the other video. And that snags like hell, and difficult to find in the night, but I'll fix that. We'll see that on the next video. Just shy of 2 kilos. It is very doable if that's all you have for that heat wave. But of course, now you want to start building a system up. How is it constructed? The construction is the new improved construction regarding all the stitching. It used to have problems, now it doesn't. The micro diamond outer is similar to a Pertex. They can't call it Pertex because Pertex is a brand name. So when you hear words like micro diamond, nylon, think of it as a Pertex. It is water resistant, which means if I get some water and it pools, it will just brush away. It's not waterproof. I can't just leave it out in the rain. Don't confuse water resistancy with waterproof. What else do we need to know? Those holes at the end, the big gaps, that can only be explained on an entire different video, which means do Snugpak give you fitting instructions to properly seal up them ends? No, they don't. Instead, they give you 2 elastics on either end, 2 on the head, 2 on the foot, and you kind of have to jerry rig something together. So there is no correct way, there is no wrong way, there's only what works for you. And I'm going to show you what works for me regarding fitting this, why I have 2 of these, and then we'll take it from there. You will need, however, a second sleeping bag and a pad if you're not using it in a UK heat wave like now. 6 degrees, real feel 3 degrees. Would I be okay in just 1 cocoon for tonight? Hell no, I certainly wouldn't. But you just add a sleeping bag and you add a pad and you might be good to go. Most of us have a sleeping bag and pad. What if you haven't got a pad and a sleeping bag? You'll need to go out and buy yourself a pad and a sleeping bag for anything more than 14 degrees, okay? Or do you? If you haven't got a pad and a sleeping bag, which are 2 separate purchases, add up the price of your pad and your sleeping bag, see how much that comes to. Then see how much a second cocoon comes to. And then we'll see if that can get us right through to 0, and then we'll have a look at how we're going to go from 0 below. which is well below freeze point. They are the factual matters regarding this review here, and I have had this product for over 8-9 years, but the first one I sent back because I didn't understand it. I didn't see the logic of needing an extra sleeping bag and pad. I wanted that 2 kilos to do everything for me, and of course it doesn't. It's all much better explained than we have time for in this video, so join me next time. We'll put 2 of these together and I will explain everything, and maybe what you think is my flawed logic, maybe it might turn you around and you think, you know what, the guy's got a point. Until then, take care of yourself and I'll see you out there. Happy trails.